Hello folks, the Vivo X90 Pro Plus is an overkill phone in every sense of the word. From the unnecessarily long name to the tacky overbranding on its backside, the gigantic camera bump to the cutting-edge components used, Vivo seemingly threw every mobile tech possible at it. I think only a few devices have hit the scene with this much new hardware, the Huawei Mate 20 Pro and Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra of course. The Vivo X90 Pro Plus joins the list. The casing of the X90 Pro Plus is made of Gorilla Glass Victus, an aluminum frame and vegan leather back, aka fancy plastic made to feel like leather. The X90 Pro Plus feels very premium in the hands, and the 90% screen body ratio is possible thanks to the narrow edges around the OLED panel. There are hardly any distracting edges on the sides due to the curved display. The camera module protrudes a lot, but when the phone is on the table, it hardly wobbles during use. In a sense, we can say that it lies on a stand. If this trend with the camera continues, we won't need stands anymore. This metallic bar is just one of 4 places you'll find Zeiss branding on the phone's back. There is also the Zeiss logo along with Zeiss Vario Tessar text usually found in Zeiss camera lenses, and one final Zeiss T logo on the camera module itself. For a moment there, I even doubted that this was a Vivo smartphone and not Zeiss. Despite all these, I still dig the overall aesthetic and it gives a decent holding experience. The phone's width is just right, making it easy to hold in one hand. After shovels like the S23 Ultra or 14 Pro Max, the X90 Pro Plus feels very compact. But it only seems because there is a large 6.78-inch display panel in front. It uses Samsung's A6 AMOLED display with a 3200 by 1440 resolution and a refresh rate up to 120 Hz. This is the newest and best display technology in mobile, with improvements in viewing angles. Underneath the display is an in-display fingerprint reader using Qualcomm's 3D Sonic Max technology, which we'll talk about a little later. Simply put, this is the best possible screen on mobile devices right now. The internal components are all on the cutting edge too. The X90 Pro Plus runs on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 with 12GB of LPDDR5X RAM and 256GB or 512GB of UFS 4.0 storage. The Vivo flagship does not support expansion via microSD cards. There is a 4700 mAh battery that can be fast charged via the included charger at 80 watt speeds and wirelessly charged at up to 50 watts. Pretty impressive, and we haven't gotten to the cameras yet. As I already mentioned, Vivo X90 Pro Plus features a 2K 6.78 inches AMOLED display. It comes with a refresh rate of 120Hz and 1800 nits of peak brightness. The screen gets plenty bright for both indoor and outdoor use. I could easily use the display even under direct sunlight. The display is big, clear, and rich in colors. The content on the screen is detailed and vibrant. It's one of the best quality displays I have used recently. The icons, text, and everything else on the screen were clear and crisp. The 120Hz refresh rate makes everything smooth, be it scrolling through the UI or playing games. The X90 Pro Plus, along with cooperation from Zeiss, have prepared a great camera setup for you. The heart of the camera unit is a large 1-inch 50-megapixel Sony IMX989 sensor. Next, we have a 48-megapixel ultra-wide-angle sensor, a 50-megapixel portrait camera, and a 64-megapixel telephoto lens. The main camera takes excellent shots in both daylight and low light. The shots I took were detailed and clear. The photos have a wide dynamic range, but there are also weaknesses in sharpness levels from time to time. I also noticed a lack of consistency in the pictures. I mean, even 2 shots in a row can show different colors, especially at night. Look at these 2 photos. I took them off one by one, and here is the third one, and again other colors. However, I would say that night photography is the strongest side of this camera. If I prefer the latest Samsung flagship for daytime photos, then at night my sympathies are closer to Vivo. Pictures are more detailed with a wider range. There is only one drawback. Unlike the night photos, I didn't really like the night video. Quite a weak dynamic range and detail. Stabilization fails, the picture floats and twitches, and it's not very nice. It's hard to call this a flagship level, which is surprising because the photos from the same camera are great. The portrait shots were equally good. The edge detection was on point and the subject was well separated from the background. Background blur was soft and didn't look cheap. Ultra-wide shots were clear and detailed, similar to the main sensor. sensor. The dynamic range was also good. The X90 Pro Plus features a pair of zoom lenses, a 50-megapixel 2x telephoto camera using Sony's IMX758 sensor, and a 64-megapixel periscope zoom lens with a 3.5x optical zoom. This one uses a lesser-known OmniVision sensor. The two zoom lenses equate to about 50 and 90 mm focal length, and they're meant for snapping portraits, the former for typical chest-up portraits, the latter for entire upper body shots. The focal length and sensor size result in some natural depth of field even without resorting to software-generating digital bokeh. However, turning the periscope zoom lens into a 3.5x portrait lens means the X90 Pro Plus has taken a step back in long zoom photography compared to previous Vivo devices with a 5x periscope lens. But the 3.5x lens has enough pixels to compensate, and for the most part, the X90 Pro Plus 10x zoom performs very well, although it loses to Samsung's dedicated 10x optical lens. If you examine these samples, Samsung's 10x zoom is just a touch sharper and better detailed than Vivo's. But the funny thing is that in low light, Vivo's 10x zoom shows better results. This is because the Samsung camera uses a 3x sensor when there is not enough light, even at 10x zoom. Coming over to the front, the 32-megapixel selfie camera took amazing selfies. The selfies I took were rich in detail and pretty sharp. The skin tones looked close to natural and the dynamic range was good. With the newest Qualcomm flagship silicon and the latest standards for RAM and storage, it's not surprised that the Vivo X90 Pro Plus performs very well. I didn't encounter any slowdowns or app crashes throughout my months plus of using the device, and the phone could obviously handle any app I threw at it. I did some multitasking and there were no hiccups while switching between the apps. The RAM management is also good, as the apps stay in the background even after a while. Thanks to the UFS 4.0 storage, apps open and load up very quickly. Talking about numbers, the phone scores around 2000 and 5300 in the Geekbench benchmark if it's important for you, but I had to push the limits of the phone. Hence it was time to play some graphic-intensive games like Genshin Impact, of course. Unfortunately, I haven't found an easy way to display FPS on the screen while playing games. Vivo doesn't have a native solution for this, but it feels like we're certainly getting 55 to 60 FPS most of the time. Unfortunately, I cannot say that the gameplay is perfectly smooth, because sometimes there are micro freezes, but I consider this to be the normal, and it in no way detracts from my enjoyment of the game. After playing Genshin Impact for a solid hour and a half, I noticed that the smartphone warmed up quite noticeably, especially frames. This is the level that can be called hotter than warm. I started playing with a temperature of 35 degrees. After 10 minutes, the phone warmed up to 41 degrees and lost 5% of the charge. The next 15 minutes heated the phone to 44 degrees and drained the battery by another 10%. The next 15 minutes warmed up the phone to 45 degrees, and this is a noticeable heating. At the same time, the battery began to be used a little more efficiently. 8% was gone over this period, and after another 25 minutes, the temperature reached 46 degrees and the battery lost 14%. In just 1 hour and 7 minutes, the phone lost 36% of its charge. But the gameplay again raises no questions. In comparison to the S23 Ultra, I found the gameplay to be more enjoyable here, slightly smoother and more stable. There are micro freezes, but they seem to be less frequent. Vivo does get noticeably hotter though. Additionally, the amount of energy consumed by the battery is nearly twice as high. In other words, everything has its price. As for the less demanding games, I didn't notice any lags or frame drops. All the games run in their highest graphics settings, as I expected. Vivo X90 Pro Plus comes with a 4700 mAh battery. This is slightly less than the Android flagship standard of 5000 mAh, and in my opinion, battery life is the place where you can definitely say that Vivo is inferior to competitors. I think a casual user can expect about 5 to 6 hours of screen on time without gaming. In heavy games, again, the consumption is very high. Genshin Impact will take about 32% per hour. An hour of YouTube on Wi-Fi consumed 50% of the charge. But you know, don't worry even if you run out of battery, as the fast charging feature makes up for it very well. The Vivo X90 Pro Plus supports 80 watts of fast wired charging and 50 watts of fast wireless charging. The 80 watts fast charger, which comes out of the box, takes about 35 minutes to fully charge the phone from 0 to 100%. A quick charge of just 15 minutes will juice up the battery to about 50%. Using a compatible wireless charger, you can charge the phone to 100% in under 1 hour, which is still faster than many other phones. This device I'm testing is a China retail unit, and it's not based on TouchOS that is common with Vivo phones, but on the Chinese equivalent called OriginOS. The UI is based on Android 13 but is strongly adapted to the Chinese market. Nevertheless, many languages can be selected. Even Google services can be activated easily, so the Google Play Store and other Google apps can be used relatively smoothly. Android 13's new features, such as the built-in QR code scanner and the shortcut toggle buttons to the Material Udemy engine, have just about been done away with. However, some of the crucial new privacy features of Android 13 are still available. OriginOS has an aesthetic that looks very iOS-inspired. Still, once you get past the lack of originality, OriginOS is great-looking UI with lots of extra touches that I wish Android would adopt. The main differentiating factor between OriginOS and other versions of Android is that Origin's home screen is designed to be widget-heavy, and most of these widgets are interactive. For example, the photo gallery and calendar widget is fully interactive. I can swipe through the gallery to circle through photos or scroll further down several weeks on the calendar, all directly on the home screen. Likewise, I can begin or stop a recording by tapping on the recorder widget without even needing to open the app fully. There are myriads of customization options. Animations are fluid, again inspired by the iOS approach. Everything opens and closes beautifully. However, similar to every other smartphone, micro freezes can occur. Speaking of biometrics, Vivo uses a 3D ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is super fast at unlocking the phone. It's pretty reliable and accurate too. In addition, the fingerprint recognition area is larger than on the previous generation that we can see on the Galaxy S23 series. And given the faster recognition speed, that's really impressive. Perhaps this is the feature that has impressed me the most. By the way, you only need to touch the sensor once to register a fingerprint. It's such a simple process that I added 5 of my fingers and did it faster than registering one finger on smartphones with the previous generation of the sensor. The Qualcomm 3D Sonic ultrasonic sensor is clearly a unique selling point for the flagship. Vivo X90 Pro Plus features a stereo speaker setup, one located at the bottom while the earpiece acts as the secondary speaker. A desiccated secondary speaker would have been much better, but it's okay. The audio was clear and crisp, however the output was not so balanced. More of which was coming from the bottom. The Vivo X90 Pro Plus paves the way and shows how flagships have to fare in 2023 to be competitive in the high-end segment. It offers excellent imaging capabilities both during the day and especially at night. In addition to that, the phone is powerhouse when it comes to performance. The 120Hz AMOLED display makes your day-to-day usage super smooth and vibrant. Yes, the battery life could have been better, but the 80-watt fast charging support makes up for it. The Vivo X90 Pro Plus is definitely one of the best premium smartphones in the market. It is a great option for someone who wants a phone with excellent cameras without compromising on performance. Guys, thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. See you in the next one. Good luck to all.